Thanks for tuning in to Proline TV. I'm your host, Greg DePalma, as we do a starting lineup report for the NASCAR Cup Series. It's Pocono Raceway, the Great American Getaway 400. So let's get right to it and start, first of all, with practice. All right, so practice is going to be the way that we're going to go first. Not necessarily because it means more, but just figured let's start with practice for a little bit of a reason that we're going to get into in just a couple of seconds here. As you can see, Bubba Wallace and William Byron. Matter of fact, you got Elliott there. You got some Chevys and Toyotas looking pretty strong early on in practice today. Byron, not a surprise. That was CJ's top pick. You just got a feeling he's overdue. This has been a good track for him. He's had some strong cars here. You also believe that he's not only overdue for a win in the series, but he's also probably over a win for a win here at Pocono. So he gets off to a good start, as does Bubba Wallace, who we talked about as a nice potential long shot, because Bubba, who was 25-1, was 10th in this race last year, and he has an 8.5 average in his last 4 races here. So good start for both Byron and Wallace. There's your top 10. Okay. Let's take a look before we move on at how qualifying did for Byron and Wallace. And if anybody saw the thumbnail on the page before they came in, they might have said, well, I didn't see them on either one of the thumbnails, so I guess they didn't hit the poll. But top 10? No. Top 20? No. Top 25? No. Look at where they ended up. William Byron, 31st. Bubba Wallace, 34th. What happened? Well, Byron wrecked in qualifying. So here it goes, Byron. He puts together a great lap in practice. Not sure he was going to get a top 5 in qualifying, though. He was a little bit behind the mark, and it looked like he was probably, if he hit the marks coming around to the last turn or two, it looked like maybe he would still get a top 10, probably at best. And here's a driver, Byron, who started on the pole in 2023 and started on the front row in 2024. So he looked like he was going to get at least a solid top 10 practice. A first practice, top 10 qualifying, and he would be the perfect driver to win this race because, as we did talk about the other day, taking a look at what kind of trends made sense between qualifying and practice, just based on next gen the last 3 years, you want to start in the top 10, or at least be a driver like Ryan Blaney, who did start in the top 10 last year, but just qualified top 15. That's Ryan Blaney. And you can trust that. That's okay. It's good enough for Ryan. That's fine. But that's not what happened. And unfortunately, it's because, again, he wrecked. So that is a bad way to get started here when it looked like it was going to be a great start for William Byron and company. Bubba Wallace, he was in a much tougher situation because he couldn't even start the car to put a lap together. Just imagine that. See, you can say what you want about the driver. Was it the driver's fault? When Byron wrecked, was it the car? What was it? Who knows, right? We'll figure it out. Well, we know this wasn't Wallace's fault. He couldn't start the damn car. So that really must have sucked. But hey, as I said, Wallace was 10th last year. He started 29th. And I believe both of these drivers, because it's a 2.5-mile track, and this is also one of those types of races where you're going to have fuel mileage, you're going to have all sorts of strategy. I don't even know if some of these drivers might try to limit the number of pits. So there's going to be quite a number of strategic differences that you're going to see out there tomorrow, and I just wouldn't completely rule them out. But I will say this. Byron was, 7-1, 8-1 the other day. You have to get a good number on him now. And I think if you get a good number on him, if you can give me about 14 or 15-1 on William Byron, I might throw him in there with the long shots based just on the way this track is. Okay, on a regular track, normal type of setting, 1.5 miler, short track, skipping this week for William Byron. But this type of track, this long track, the longest in the series, again, different philosophies that are going to be out there. Now they're going to have to change whatever plan they had originally. But, they've got the team to do it. So, but give me a good number. Give me a good number. Bubba's already going to have a good number because he was 25-1. So Bubba's going to have a good number. And I think he's still not a bad minor long shot play. Nothing big. Both of them are in big trouble, though. Keep this in mind. Okay. Now, this is not next gen, but Pocono, in the history of Pocono, if we want to go back, actually, you know what? Let's go back all time. The farthest winners at Pocono, unlike some tracks where recently we've said things like, wow, that's it. That's as far as they've gone. All right. Well, they've only been 30 years, 40 years. Pocono's been there for a while, 91 races. They've had winners from the 19th position, and they've had 5, 6, 7, 8 winners from the 20s, including 28th and 29th. Okay, so they've had a lot of winners that have started outside the top 20, almost the top 30, 29th. And here you've got Byron and Wallace trying to break that at 31 and 34. So again, at any racetrack different, this racetrack, it can be done. So it's not completely over. It's just a bad way to get started. So what are you going to do, right? Let's go back to practice. Okay. See what happened there. All right. So Chase Elliott, you might have seen it too because I went over it. But there's Chase, gets off to a good start. And Chase was one that wound up getting off to a good start, not qualifying well. Same thing for Austin Cindric. As you can see there, Cindric was 7th. Ryan Blaney, he was 8th in practice. And Ross Chastain, who, as we said the other day, you do not take Ross Chastain at Pocono. He is really, really not good at Pocono. So Ross Chastain, Alex Bowman, he's another one that went the wrong way. McDowell, you would have thought, oh, this is one of those weeks for McDowell. Not so much. Did not qualify well. So those are the drivers that had the biggest differences in a negative way. Let's move on down here to the biggest positive difference makers. Let's get them all here so you can see them. So the biggest positive difference makers, okay, they would be, let's see, they would be Logano, okay. Logano started 28th there. You see Priest started 18th there. I think that's it, actually. Yeah, I think that's it. Now, there's a couple of drivers that you would have thought would be potential contenders. One of them, not so much, because Kyle Busch really hasn't been good here at Pocono ever since he left Joe Gibbs. So he started here. He qualified, he practiced 20th here, but he did not qualify well anyway. So here's Kyle Busch qualifying all the way down here at 26th. Here's Kyle Larson qualifying all the way down here at 24th after a practice run of 17th. So Larson was the biggest disappointment of the day, no doubt about it. But is it a surprise? No. This is why, again, we said the other day, just didn't make a lot of sense what Kyle Larson was 5-1 when he has never won a race here before. And now he has to start at the 24th position with a 17th practice run. And you're probably still not going to get a bargain on the numbers. He was 5-1. He's probably going to be 8-1, 10-1 at the best, I would guess. So there's no value there at all. Now, look, even though Blaney will start 20th, there's the other ones, the disappointing ones I said from the Elliott, Cindric, Blaney. Keep in mind, Chase Elliott hasn't led a lap since 2019 at Pocono. And now he's starting 18th. That's a bad sign. And then you got Blaney, who I wouldn't worry too much about it. It's a 2.5-mile track. I think the good thing for Blaney is that he showed a little speed in practice. The opposite of what happened last year when he was, I believe, 8th. Yep. 8th and 14th last year. Started 8th, practice 14th. So, but you're not getting a good number on Blaney. He was 7-1, I believe, and he'll probably remain 7-1. So I don't think that's a good value pick either. I would have liked to have seen Blaney qualify in the top 10 to stick with that. But at least you do have a good practice run to hang your hat on. Some others that stick out outside the top 10 in qualifying would be Brad Keselowski, because he's got a 10.8 average over his career in 27 races. So that, and he's 20-1. That should stay about the same. So 14th and 10th, not bad. Preece, his teammate, 18th, not very good in practice, but improved to 13th, as you can see here. And that's okay. Matter of fact, we talked about Preece as a nice long shot play. We also said the same thing about Eric Jones at 55-1. Preece and Jones are both 55-1. Jones has 5 career top 5s at this track. Those were with Joe Gibbs, but he does have 2 top 10s in his last 3 with Next Gen. So that's why we kind of liked him there. Now he has an 11th qualifying run. Not bad, just outside the top 10. Maybe that number drops a little bit, both Preece and Jones, but you probably should still get somewhere about 35-40-1, and that's still pretty good. I think you should still throw some long shot money that way. Logano made a big jump from 28th practice, as you can see, all the way down to 12th. That's nice. The problem is he only has 1 top 5 in his last 14 at Pocono. So the good thing is he was 17-1, and I don't think those odds will change much. So Logano's not a totally bad long shot play at 15-1 range, right about that. Daniel Suarez, you can see him in the top 10 here, but he practiced 19th. That's not all that great. 70-1 though. Okay, that'll drop because he's in the top 10. I just don't know if I see enough value there still with Larson. But hey, if you're getting still a huge number, 40-50-1 that range, and not totally bad. I guess the thing that really would bother me the most is that him and his teammate, he doesn't have anything to latch onto. So yeah, I don't see it. Then you have Christopher Bell, who will start 9th, 13th practice. That's not bad. That's good. That'll work. 8-1. That should stay about the same. The only thing is he's only led 17 laps in 7 years here. That's the one thing. But he's not bad. He's driving a Toyota. And the key with Toyota is this. This is important because Toyota has, you can see here, 6 of the top 9 in qualifying, including the pole sitter. But don't get suckered in by that, because Toyota has always, or at least in the 3 years of Next Gen, both qualified and practiced the strongest. So they're really good here at Pocono on Saturdays. And some of it is translated to Sundays. They've had 1 win. They've almost had 2 when Hamlin was DQ'd. So it's still a good thing. I still think Toyota is the manufacturer to beat, but it's not like you look at the numbers like last year. Again, they had the top, what was it last year, what they had in practice and qualifying? They had 3 of the top 4 in qualifying and 4 of the top 6 in practice. So you would have said, oh, watch out. Well, they only had 1 in the top 5 on Sunday. So I wouldn't go too crazy about Toyota, but it's not a negative when it comes to Christopher Bell, and a very good positive with Tyler Reddick. Reddick sits here at 8th, 4th in practice. That's one of the very few. Matter of fact, I believe there are only two drivers, which is very rare. And since this is the only 2.5 mile track, that's probably why. 2 drivers who had qualified and practiced in the top 10. Reddick was one of them. All right. Throw in the fact that his average is 6.0 in his last 5 races at Pocono, with 2 runner-ups in his last 3. The thing that's bothered us the most about Reddick is that he's not in a good place right now on the Cup Series. He's going through a little bit of a lull, but maybe this will wake him up. Maybe this is the start of it, or just bang, win. And we can see that happening. You're getting a good number at 10-1. I don't anticipate that's going to drop that much. Even if it drops to 8-1, based on what we're seeing here compared to the other drivers, I think Tyler Reddick is a really good play right now for sure. My top play, Ty Gibbs, I still feel solid. 7th here, as you can see, 12th in practice. That's fine. No, got no problems with that. 20-1, he'll drop, especially the way he dropped last week and then had a good week, even though the results didn't say it. We all know he was the second best driver. That should drop, but I still think you'll get a good enough number. Don't forget he was on the pole last year and was one of the better drivers on Sunday. Average starting position, get this, in his career here, 7.3 coming into this race. And where does he qualify? 7th. He also has 2 races in Xfinity Series, both runner-ups. So I still like Ty Gibbs an awful lot. And no matter what that price is, even if you get him after qualifying and practice, that number will still be fine with me. I'm not looking at Chase Briscoe. I haven't enough of Chase Briscoe's top 10s. He's never shown anything here anyway in the Cup Series. So, yeah, 25-1. I don't think that's going to move much. If it does, forget it. If it stays at 25-1, if you want to throw something on him, you can, but I can't do it. Cole Custer, surprisingly good today. So John Hunter Nemechek did not practice well, but look at him. Custer 5th, John Hunter 4th. Hocevar. All right, Carson Hocevar. What do we do with Carson Hocevar? Is it a surprise he qualified 3rd? Absolutely not. He unfortunately only practiced 22nd. There's only raced here once in the Cup Series, so we don't have as usual with him, we don't have a lot to go on. But he was 25-1. Here's the problem. Again, as we've said for weeks, if you're going to take Carson Hocevar, if you like him, if you just want to decide on Saturday nights or Sunday mornings, except for next week, watch out, when to take him, don't. Just, if you think he's going to win a race this year, just take him, because he does normally qualify well, which means that odds will drop. So just take him. Don't wait until qualifying or practice. And if he has a bad Saturday, you lose, whatever. Okay, I don't know what to tell you. But it's a lot better than getting your value chipped away, which I think you're going to get. Look, if you could still get 20-1 here, I'd be surprised, but that's okay. I don't know. He's just such a hot name for a long shot right now. It's just a month ago, he was at 80-1 in races, 70-1. And he's had 1 top 10 in his last 6 or 7 races. And he's dropped down to 25-1. So, yeah, the value has just gone away from Carson Hocevar, which is why if you don't want that completely to just keep getting chipped away going into race day, just go ahead and take him every week. How do I think about him overall? Hey, if he's still at least 25-1, that's good. If he's down to 15, 10, 12, forget it. Buescher, got to take Buescher now. Okay, he was 20-1. I don't think that's going to drop too much. I think you'll still get somewhere in the teens. Anything less than that, forget it. But I think if you still get, I would think you're going to get similar numbers now with Buescher and Hocevar. I think both could end up, even though Buescher should be 15 and Hocevar 20. That's what I would have myself based on 2025 to start the week. If that happens, okay. But if it's not as good as that, I'd have to rethink it. But Buescher is one of those 2 drivers that had a really good day today, both in practice and qualifying. 2nd here, 5th in practice. Don't forget, he's got his win, even though there's a rain-shortened race back in 2016. The good news is his last 2 races, 10th and 2nd, so he's coming into form. And his RFK teammates are not that far back. Preece in 13th, Keselowski in 14th. That's a good sign for that team, that they've got something here. So that would make me feel even more confident about them. And you know what? It's not a bad idea either to say, I'll take the RFK team, because they're all going to have good numbers. They all should be at least 15-1 or higher, especially Preece, who you should still be able to get 40-1 or higher on. And Denny Hamlin, here's the big question mark with Denny Hamlin, because he's the low odds-on favorite coming in at 4-1, and deservedly so. You know, he nearly won 2 out of 3. Matter of fact, he nearly won all 3 of these next-gen races. DQ'd in 2022, won the race in 2023. Very nearly won the race last year, finishing in 2nd. Could not catch Ryan Blaney, and really that was all about strategy. Hamlin stood out, got the stage points. Blaney went in, and when they all, reclassified after the stage drop, Blaney was on the front lines, and Hamlin had to catch up. He couldn't catch up. So I guess he was probably looking for the right break, the right caution, didn't come. Blaney was able to hold him off, and Blaney wins the race. But Hamlin almost won all 3 next-gen races. And when you get something like that, that's why I said the other day, that's when I'm like, okay, 4-1. Look how good he is here. Just like I said, also that if like I said, if I don't see anything different this year, and we go back into Mexico next year, and SVG starts the week at 3 or 4-1, I'll take him. Same thing with Hamlin this week. There are circumstances that it makes sense. The problem is, though, the 27th practice run. Where did that come from? Is that something we should be worried about? I don't think so, because of how good he is here. Kind of who knows what happened in his practice run. It could have been something they were trying out. I don't know. But I wouldn't get too worried about it. Matter of fact, I probably would feel better about it, because maybe it'll help keep those odds where they are now. Because let's say if he had the first fastest practice car along with the pole, he might go down to 3-1 or less. Maybe that'll be your savior and keep the number reasonably in a good spot. I don't know if it will. I had a guess. I still think it's going to drop to 3 or 3.5. And man, that is really pushing it. But this is one of those weeks that if you want to do that, there's not a whole lot of value there, but the man knows how to drive next gen at Pocono. And it doesn't look like he has to worry too much about Kyle Larson. His other big competitor, William Byron, is starting way back. Okay. And it's not like, Blaney looks super fast right now. He looked better last year than this year. So he does have his teammate Bell to worry about. Reddick, and they are fellow Toyotas, and hopefully Gibbs. There are some decent long shots out there, and maybe that's the way to do it, is to say, if you want to go in Hamlin, go ahead and add a few long shots to the mix. And if Hamlin doesn't get it done, hopefully Bell or Reddick won't. And maybe you get Gibbs, or maybe you get Buescher, in the 15 to 20 range. So, because that's what you'll have, because if anytime you're going to be taking a Denny Hamlin or an SVG at 3-1, or a Kyle Larson at 3-1 or 4-1, you really can't use your money on another driver at 8 or 10-1. You can, but now you're risking just too much. And it's a really risky proposition to do that. No pun intended. So there you go. That's how it's going to look setting up for next week. I think we showed you all of the practice speeds as well. There they are. By the way, having a terrible day was Josh Berry. Wow, did he have a bad day. And let's see if I notice anyone else sticking out. Not really. There's the rest of them in practice, and that's going to wrap it up. So remember, next week, it's Atlanta on a Saturday night. So that means we're going to come here on Friday. Don't forget, Kevin Rogers has his pick already lock and loaded in the library. You could check that out. He did that on Friday. He'll have a short tomorrow, but you can go ahead and check that out. Link in the description. You can also check out CJ's DFS RotoWire report. Those are his best bets based on fantasy over at RotoWire. So that link is in the description as well. So you've got 3 different links, including this show, that you can check out, additional handicapping information to get you ready every week whenever we post these starting lineup reports. Normally we'll be ahead of the game, and the only one that may or may not be there would be Kevin's, but most of the time it will. So every week, if for some reason this is how long you want to wait until you start handicapping races, this is the video to do it. Check this out, get all the times, get the latest trends that we get more in depth about earlier in the week. Let's say that's something you just don't want to do. It's an hour show. You don't want to get into that. But then you can dive into the 3 links we provide you. Hey, if you want to check out some of the video that we do on Tuesday for the hour, don't forget on the bottom, you've got the markers. So you can not necessarily fast forward, but you can pick exactly what you want to or what you don't want to listen to about the video. And then you've got the RotoWire report and Kevin's report, which is only about 5 or 6 minutes each week. So there you go. Also, we'll have links in the description for our new Patreon. And right now, the major thing we got going on with Patreon is an NFL contest that we're running with the Patreon, but we're going to have bonus videos as well in there coming soon, shorts, videos, all sorts of cool stuff, giveaways, discounts. And we are going to tie in a lot of other things, including some stuff with NASCAR. But that's okay. Don't worry. The majority of what normally we've been feeding you here is going to stay here for the foreseeable future. Anything could change, but so far so good. Keeping everything free. And also, we're looking forward to a bunch of other cool contests that we're gearing up for. So this is a great time to subscribe to Proline TV, especially if you like more than just NASCAR, even if it's more than F1. And I'm talking not just about golf or horse racing, basketball, hockey. We're going to get a lot more into hockey next year. Of course, college basketball was big. We hit it with Florida and Houston in the championship game, with Florida winning it. So we had a great run there. And of course, football is going to be just so big here on this channel. If you're into football, NFL, college football, we're going to have every single day, there is going to be like really awesome programming and content that's going to have the best handicappers in the entire world from week to week here, the legends of the industry, all sorts of great content. I'm telling you. So this is the place you want to go if you're into the handicapping deal. And also if you just want to find out what's going on because it helps you out with fantasy, or you just want to know what's going on with your team. Because as you can see, we've got loads of interviews that we wind up putting in there from our RLADS, my RLADS connection as the senior analyst over there. So it's a lot of fun doing those interviews. We interview all these team insiders in both the NFL and college football. So anyway, enough of that. Just take my advice. If you're a big NFL fan and you love college football and you love NASCAR and all that other stuff, this is definitely a channel that you want to subscribe to. Don't miss out. And again, good luck on the Pocono race tomorrow. Hopefully it's a good one. And we'll see everybody again next Friday for the starting lineup report. And we'll see everybody again, it looks like, once again on a Tuesday. And who knows, maybe I'm going to talk to CJ since it's a Friday night. And I'm just saying because it's different, not a Sunday night. And maybe it's just difficult for CJ on a Sunday night. But I'll find out whether or not CJ's available for a live end of the race video. Still trying to push that with CJ to get that done, and maybe we'll get that done this Saturday night because the only time we're going to do that is with the Super Speedway race, Atlanta, Daytona, or Talladega. We'll come on live. We'll watch it together for the last 30 minutes. We can't put the video on, but it's in the background. You can watch it while we're watching it, and we comment on it. And obviously, you guys can comment along with us. So hopefully, we'll be able to do that sometime soon. This Saturday night is one of those possibilities. So we'll let you know about that, whether or not we have a chance for it when we do the show on Tuesday. And that'll wrap it up. Again, good luck. We'll see you again on Tuesday and again right here next Friday.